Welcome back to Creative Thinkers. Again, my name is Miguel Valenzuela. Thank you for joining us. Today we have Steve Salazar. He is an artist and a musician. So we're going to talk about all kinds of fascinating things with him today, and we're going to learn a little bit about him. Steve, welcome.
Thank you, brother. Nice to be here.
So I want to thank you for taking the time out to come over here and talk to us a little bit. But one of the very most interesting things about you is that you do a lot of different things. Like, how in the world do you blend this whole kind of artist world and musician world together, and how are they connected?
They actually go hand in hand for me. You know, it's like if I'm not doing one, the other one kind of suffers a little bit for it. So it's something that I grew up doing both. You know, I even have it tattooed on my hands, arte and rock.
No way, I didn't notice that.
Because it's my life. It is my livelihood right now. You know, but yeah, they go hand in hand. I need both to feel, you know, good about myself.
And art for you is a big part of your life, even from when you were young. We were talking earlier about influences. Who was one of the biggest influences in your life?
My dad. He is a musician, a drummer. He's been playing since his high school days.
Right.
You know, he was all in all the little cool local bands back in the day.
Nice.
And in fact, growing up, our house was the neighborhood house where the band practiced at. You know, and so growing up, I mean, it was something very special for me. You know, and I thought it was, you know, normal. You know, because I grew up with it, seeing it. You know, but you know, it wasn't.
Right.
And then he also loved to draw, and he was always drawing superheroes, you know, like the comic book style from the 70s.
Right.
He would do that, and I think I started picking that up from him. And then, of course, like what we were talking about earlier, about the decor in the house.
Yeah,
you know?
mention that, because I thought it was very interesting, because I have a very similar childhood. You
Right.
know, the influences and what I saw made me who I am as an individual.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So what were you looking at?
Well, so my parents were young. You know, they were kind of in their hippie stage. You know, I was born in '68, so you know we're talking about that era. But yeah, my dad had all his album covers on the wall, you know, like posters.
Right.
We had curtains with these floating heads with these psychedelic hair styles going all over the place, really psychedelic. The beads in their doorways that remember, the Buddha in the corner, very colorful, and I gravitated to that a lot. And so I would not only be watching TV, but also drawing, you know, the figures and the images in the house.
So you would try to recreate the stuff that you were seeing, and that was kind of like a practice for you?
Right, yeah, that's how that was my first taste of drawing and coloring or whatever. Is just, you know, the imagery that I grew up in during those times.
So fast forward to now, you're in school, you're trying to get a degree in something, you're kind of thinking, what do I want to do? Because you actually ended up being a teacher.
Right, yeah.
So you registered for art school here at UTEP?
I did.
Uh-huh.
You know, I went in not knowing what I really wanted to do at first, until I took an art class. I had never taken an art class during high school or anything yet. I was always,
that's very interesting.
I was always in the band. You know, I did the band thing. I think at that time the art was a little bit just more personal. You know, at that time, you know, and then I guess I didn't really want to compare my work with others, so it was a little personal. But in college, I did take an art class because I needed an elective.
Right.
And that was it. You know, it was let's just say, like, I felt like I found where
you belonged,
where
maybe?
I belonged, where you know, other like-minded people hung out and just philosophizing about art and all that. That was, you know, incredible to me. And so that's when I decided, okay, I want to be an art teacher, because you know, I was influenced by my dad, so I wanted to see if I can influence my enthusiasm and my creative onto the next generation.
Right. So you
kind of
knew that
thing.
there was a connection of some sort there. How do I take that and kind of pay it forward in some way?
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted to do with going into teaching.
So we'll go back a step because I'm intrigued as to what your major was before.
It was English literature because I think that was where the lyric.
Oh, so you're still thinking musically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always written lyrics and poetry on my own as well, and so I was like, maybe I'll go into English literature. Teach nonfiction at a college.
Right.
But as soon as I took that one art class, I was no, this is it. This is where I belong.
Cool.
And it was a wonderful experience during that time. The only thing that probably wasn't the best was my money situation.
Right.
So I kind of started thinking about what can I buy that is low cost and still create art for my classes, because I was starving musician,
Right.
artist.
So you were somewhat of a businessman then too?
No, that's my train of thought.
You were saying that you bought something that was not so
Yes.
expensive in order to.
Right.
What did you do with that?
So what I ended up doing is I bought a wood burner. a
Really?
wood burning machine,
Okay.
so that I can do my drawing, something a little bit different,
Uh-huh.
bringing an old school trade,
Right.
art trade back into, these days. So I did that, and all of a sudden I became the wood burning guy.
Really, all your artwork was wood burning?
Right, and
Cool.
to this day it is.
That's one of the things that you did
that's what
mention.
I'm-
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing now.
That you're actually literally doing wood burning
Wood
now.
burning, yeah.
What is your focus? Like, what kind of artwork do you create? What is the narrative here, the story?
It's something that really influenced me, that I heard one time, was the way David Bowie wrote lyrics.
Enlighten us.
He did it the Dadaist way, where he would cut out interesting articles, interesting words from the magazines and newspapers, put them in a box, shake it up, and one by one, the way they came out,
Oh, wow.
that's how he formed his idea to create the music. So I started to do that with my lyrics as well, but also with my art. So
Love it.
So instead of using words, I was borrowing images from here and there, So
But always woodworking.
always woodwork, yeah.
Cool.
So at one time I was calling it Chicano Popadelic, because it was Mexican American icons, Mexican icons, cultural icons, of course American icons. Put them in together, everything in the kitchen sink, and make some kind of political, social statement with it, but using images that I related to, or that I grew up seeing in in my upbringings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you're in school, you finally decide you want to be a teacher. Where do you end up teaching?
I did teach at a middle school for a couple of years, Eastwood Knowles, and then, but right before that, when in my last year of college, I was asked by the great Gaspar Enriquez from Bowie High School, a Chicano artist,
Right.
if some of the UTEP students would be interested in working on a mural.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a group of us, from the art department, there's like 5 of us, that we said yes, and so we worked with them one summer. So fast forward to the year later when I was teaching, this is my second year teaching, he called me and said, there's an opening here at Bowie High School, would you like to come?
Beautiful.
And I said, absolutely, working with Gaspar Enriquez.
That must have been a real privilege.
Yeah, I was real excited about that. It was something else. And then just seeing him working on his own art himself, and he was not only a mentor as an artist, but also a mentor as a teacher, and he taught me a lot of things on the art business part of it as well. So So I ended up going to Bowie, and I was there for the last 26 years.
Beautiful.
And I just retired last year, so this is my first year, and I'm back to woodburning. Back to woodburning.
So did you leave it for a while then? The
I
wood
did
burning
leave
thing?
it for a while. It was see, in 2019 I was diagnosed with cancer.
Okay. You're a
And
survivor then.
yes, I'm a survivor.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. So at the end of 2019, I was dealing with that, and then I went back to work for a week, and then COVID hit, and that's when
Oh, wow.
the whole thing
Yeah.
just shut down. So during that time, while I was recovering from surgery and we were all at home, we started cleaning out the garage, and lo and behold, I find my wood burner.
The original
The
tool?
original college one that I
Wow.
had, and I brought it back, and I got really hooked on it, and it was very therapeutic to me. The smell of the wood burning, the drawing, the luscious tones and values that you can get with fire, and it was just something that I
Missed
missed a lot. And I thought, oh, this is why, I knew something was missing, but
Right.
this is it, So I've been doing that, and of course, most of my themes during that period was COVID themes. So that's all I did. Remember, I'm recovering. We're all at home. We can't go out. So I created about 14 pieces of art having to do with COVID. Again, using papadelic, Chicano papadelic, all that kind of imagery that I was used to doing in my other arts. Anyways, and I decided to shop around and start calling, start emailing some galleries.
Okay.
I hit a gallery in Austin, in Phoenix, and a long shot in New York.
And what happened?
The New York one picked me up.
No way, really?
Yeah, and so that was like, wow, So that was, one of the highlights of my life is having an art show, a solo art show in the gallery.
In New York City.
In New York City.
That's very impressive, actually.
Yeah, the Revolution Gallery. And they still have my stuff.
Cool.
They sold about half of it, but they still have the others. And they said, do you want us to hold on to it and just have it as a permanent display here, or do you want it home? I was like, well, if you send it home to me, it's going to go into the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, keep it as long as you want. So no, I couldn't go to the opening because there was no opening because it was during COVID.
Oh, okay.
And they did have a virtual opening, where they walked into the gallery and took pictures of my art,
Right.
And the whole thing. But nobody was there. It was virtual because of COVID. It was right in the middle of COVID.
So talking about art, going through the things that you've gone through, because it's heavy stuff, how has art helped you through that process?
Not only does it gives you a purpose, it also is a stress reliever. If I want to go nitpicking a little bit on it helps me,
Right.
To concentrate and think of other things, get my mind off of things. I used it a lot at school. I used to do it when my students were working on their artwork. I would be working on my artwork so they can see, hey, I'm using the same tools as you guys. I'm using the same equipment. You can do it. You just need time to develop your talents. And so I would work with them, and it was very therapeutic, and I think it helped show them, hey, this is cool. I can do that.
Yeah, and also I think it helps your well-being as an individual, right?
Yes.
I don't think that people understand the power of art. I'm an instructor. You're a teacher. we kind of both have been part of this world for a long time. What can you say about the importance of art in people's lives?
My gosh, it is.
It's a deep question, but
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Well, it's what I think about that is that, especially now that we have seen what the world is going through and what COVID has done to us, we were all stressed out. I mean, completely stressed out, and you can see it in the kids' faces as well.
Right.
That they were, you know, with the school shootings and the COVID and all this social media problems that started to happen.
Yeah, we're
But-
living beings.
Right.
And because we're living beings, we need that kind of connection. And that
Yeah.
was lost. That was
Right.
gone for a
It-
year
it-
and a half, almost 2 years.
Yeah, it was. And so they needed a place. We all need a place to, like, okay, let's get our minds off of things. Let's do something creative. It's going to help you, you know, with your stress, with you know, developing a skill, a talent. And it's something else. It's very well needed. I have extreme ADD, you know, so I have to have
Hands-on all the time,
hands-on
right?
all the time,
Yeah.
working on something. I don't even watch TV. I listen to TV while I'm wood
Yeah, I
burning
do the same
or
thing. Yeah.
whatever it is. But yeah, it's important for your mind. It's important to have peace, and I believe art is a big instrumental part of that to help you, you know, think of things that are deep inside of you if you want to go into the conceptual part. But you know, it's also your hands-on, you're working, and you feel good about a product that you just developed, and no matter how big or small it is, it's something that builds you up.
It's almost like it keeps you alive, right? It makes you feel alive. You're doing something. What connection did you make with your students? Because I know that that's one of the most important things for me when I'm teaching. I want to make sure that I have this dynamic that I build within my class in order for the students to learn. How important for you was it to kind of relay those ideas to them and transform them into the people that they are?
It was very important. And exciting. I can count about like 10 former students of mine that are art teachers right now.
Oh, really?
Yes, between me and Mr. Lagan, the other art teacher, maybe another 5. So that in itself, you know, in fact, the kid that took my spot is one of my former
No way,
students.
really?
And that
Wow.
was the really nice transition. He was doing his student teaching with me, and I was contemplating about retirement. So it was really simple for me just to walk away when I know that somebody that has been there, that understands the kids, that was one of them. He was like
So he was at Bowie.
he was a homeless kid from Juarez that I had at Bowie for a while. I had him for Art 2, Art 3, and AP Art, and now he's the art teacher at Bowie.
That's incredible,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, so it's making that connection with my students is the most valuable thing that I took away from teaching. Not only did I teach them, but I learned so much from them.
That's true every day.
Yeah, and Bowie, you know, it's its own, you know, its own
Right.
whole situation there. You know, the exes are still strongly involved, and they have a say in a lot of things, and it's a huge family, you know, and a lot of pride goes into that. So it was wonderful being there for the 26 years and teaching the students and them teaching me, and I didn't go to Bowie High School, but I feel that, you know,
You're an absolute part of Bowie High
once
School.
a bear, always a bear. That was me.
Right.
I was there 26 years.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that was the most valuable is the kids.
You know what? One of the things that I always talk about in my class is creativity. Obviously, that's the show, the whole concept behind what the show is. For people to understand creativity and to incorporate it into their lives, what can people do? Because I don't think that people understand the power of what it is to create. How can people incorporate that into their everyday?
You know, especially with social media nowadays, I mean, everything is possible.
Right.
You want to learn how to play the guitar, you go to YouTube and you can see their videos and pick up something.
Right.
And, you know, we have two sides of the brains, the creative and the analytic, and we need both of them working so that you can have a fulfilled life. You know, you just don't want to be working all the time and not have that creative side working with you. You get the both of them working together, and you're going to be a monster.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable in anything that you set your mind to. You know, with a creative flavor, whether it be business or whatever. That creative part of it. That's what businesses are looking for now. Anyways, is creativity.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Creativity. You know, you always see Pepsi challenging Coca-Cola in this commercial. We're going to do a better commercial. You know, it's all about competition. This is a business, but it's all based around creativity.
You know what's funny, and you mentioned that just a second ago, that people don't understand that these concepts of being artistic and creative exist in everything around us, right? And that's one of the things that I think people miss a lot. They absolutely say, well, when I get the opportunity, I will get the chance to go to a museum and look at some artwork. But it's not about that. It's about incorporating it into your everyday life.
Right.
Do you, in your opinion, as an artist, as a creator, do you think that art exists in pretty much everywhere around us?
Yes.
How?
Going down to the flyers at the door, you know, the posters, everything is involved. Everything, the creativity is involved in how you choose your products. It really is a huge part of your life, but you just don't know it. You know, the type of commercials you see, what influences you, all that creative energy, you know. And now some of these commercials are hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know what, I want to go with Jake from State Farm. You know?
Yeah.
That's creative.
Yeah.
You know, all that is part of our life. And again, to find peace within yourself, I strongly believe you pick up some kind of talent, an art creative skill that's going to help you, you know, stimulate your mind and look at things differently, because that's what creativity does. It expands your mind so that you can look at things in a different light.
Yeah, because you never know where that's going to lead. And I think that's the key. When you limit yourself, then you're creating these barriers, right?
Right.
You're putting up these walls for yourself. And a lot of times those walls are taught, right? They're taught in many ways. So I admire the fact that you took the time to say, hey, you know what? This is what I've learned. This is what I'm going to give back. And you've brought that to fruition. So having said that, I feel like you've already come full circle. You started out with your environment at home, being influenced by your dad, playing music, figuring out what you wanted to do, doing some woodworking stuff, and now you've already come full circle into that. How do you feel at this juncture in your life?
It's wonderful, and now that I did decide to retire, you know, I have more time to do, you know, more wood burning, to play more with my band, and try, you know, now we can go, hey, let's go play Tucson on a Friday, Phoenix on a Saturday, drive home Sunday, so you guys can go to work because I don't have to. You know, things like that. It just opened up the whole site. So, you know, instead of trying to find a small little job or whatever, I decided to, you know, concentrate on, hey, if I can get into an exhibit in New York, you know, let me start hitting up other places. Let me develop my talent, keep learning, keep doing what you love, and watch it grow and watch it blossom into something totally out of this world that you didn't even think that you could do.
That's exactly right.
You know,
you just need to keep that ball rolling.
Keep it rolling, and so I have more time to you know, play music. We're in the studio right now recording a CD, so that's a lot of fun, and using those lyrics and the way that I decided to follow in David Bowie's footsteps of the Dadaist way,
Right.
and all that, I use that kind of philosophy in both my music and my art, and so you just keep learning and keep growing and keep dreaming, because once you stop, you're stale and you don't feel good about yourself.
Well, that's one of the things that I find really interesting, and I saw it within my father. The moment that he retired, for him, it was almost like a slow decline, like a slow death. So it's very interesting that you keep the ball rolling and keep going with these things that you've kind of incorporated into every aspect of your life. Is there any one piece of advice that you could give our viewers very quickly in anything? How you've lived your life, what they can do, how they can see things differently?
Stop thinking, I would say stop thinking about how you can, or start feeling sorry for yourself and saying, why am I not here? Why can't I be, at this level or whatever? Because what's really happening is you are there and you're living it, but you keep thinking about the next step. You're not enjoying what's going on at the moment.
So it's all about being there with that process at that time.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So how can people get a hold of you if they want you to play for them? Do you have a Instagram or a Facebook or something like that?
Our band is called Ojo Malo, the Evil Eye. We're huge Black Sabbath fans, and so there's a lot of Black Sabbath influence in our music, sludge, doom metal kind of thing.
Right.
So we're in all the social medias, Ojo Malo, in the Instagram and the Facebook, and then same with my art. In the Instagram, Steve Salazar. Actually, I go by Salazar. I added the TE
I like that.
to my name.
Right.
For wood burnings, you can check out the images of my show in New York. I'm also part of a Kaleidoscope art market, so I sell my little wood burnings at art markets,
Very cool.
at the breweries or around town on the weekends, and just keeping busy, doing my art and doing my music. So
that's one perfect way to get a hold of you, and a great way to end the show.
Yes.
I wanted to thank you, Steve, for being a great guest and for filling us with all kinds of knowledge.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us once again. Again, my name is Miguel Valenzuela, and you're watching Creative Thinkers. If you guys want to email me, my email is mvalen31@epcc.edu. I forgot that part, but .edu. And if you guys want to watch our show, you guys can go to EPCC TV on YouTube /Creative Thinkers. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.